That's exactly it. I feel like I don't really know. I think some of it's from a very long time ago, to be honest. It just kind of looks that way. To be fair, though, it's not actually all that much for how long things have been running.
How's it going, Nino?
Pretty good. I am awaiting Martha. I wanted to hear from her, like, what's been going on, because I think there's some trouble brewing at Kortz. I think some of it because you got, like, you know, shit in the morning that may not be percolating its way up the chain. Like I spoke to, okay, so I know Jason's been like cooking and doing her best, like trying to get like this new iteration of stuff going. But yesterday I got like this, I was told, wait, you told me about Martha too, right?
Yeah, I was the one who brought it up to you.
Yeah. So I tried to speak with her. And then I spoke to, she wasn't around. I spoke to Bruce, and Bruce like just like fucking sold an ass fuckload of material to like people outside of like what he should do. And holy fuck, he was like, he like yapped for like 40 minutes to pretty much just say he didn't know what to do, and he just felt like he had to sell the shit immediately. So I don't know, man. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know if he's just a dumb fuck or he's scamming us. I'm just gonna shoot straight.
Well, if I'm being honest, but like I told you on the phone, right? The guy's built up a certain reputation in town.
Yeah.
For a reason, right? Like when people hear Bruce Baylor, like
he's either a dumbass or he's scamming us. I'm just gonna shoot straight.
I don't think Bruce is dumb enough to do that.
I think he is actually. I think, if I'm going to be honest, because Bruce has done well by us quite often, I think he's just kind of dumb. And I genuinely believe that. I think he has, like, how do I put this? Okay, I think I hate saying that, but it's just, I don't know what I was supposed to say. I think he actually follows, like, an equation, and he doesn't know how not to follow the equation. Because he tells me yesterday, like when I asked about this shit, like he's like, well, these people needed orders and I didn't know what to do. No one was around, so I just sold everyone the materials. And I was like, and he's like, but I've never done it before, and I didn't know what we. Hey,
right, I'm standing at the Kortz center. Which way do I go?
At the very back, like where the moonshine stills are. If you go up the stairs,
at the back.
Mm-hmm.
God, this place gives me a headache. Right, okay.
Yep. Awesome. All right. See you in a bit.
No,
so like
the whole thing is just a bit funky. Like even the way like Martha spoke to me, like I have very little to do with Kortz, right? Like that sort of Jason's thing. Like I don't really know why she just. I know I'm in your cabinet and stuff, but I don't know why she spoke to me about it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's because Jason's around in the evening, right? She's probably just like letting folks know. But here's why I'm just shooting straight. Like I can't go around just being nice to everybody all day, right? When people are doing stupid shit, right? And he, in so many words, said he didn't know what to do, so he just made a bunch of sales, even though Martha was around. And it was just like, oops, my bad. You know what I mean? There she is. We'll talk more on that in a bit, but I think it's just incompetence is what I'm trying to say. That's probably a more appropriate word. Hey, Martha, how you doing?
Doing all right. Right, what is it you need?
Well, I'd like to understand like what happened. And if I need to step in and start sorting things out. Specifically, Kortz Center should, obviously running Kortz Center is very difficult in a city where everyone wants to be able to do everything themselves, right? I think I think sort of outside of the little Kortz events we did, it being sort of like a self-sustaining location, I think it worked for a while. I think it's not working today for that very same reason, right? Why come here when you could literally just ring someone, you know,
and
speed
get it off
to
the street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's obviously things we can do where we can sell things for like half the price or whatever, but let's be honest, Martha, there's barely any civilians left, right? People want whatever they can just quickly and easily grab.
Yeah.
But with that said, you know, I know Jason's been, you know, hard at work, like putting like a 2.0 together, you know, with I don't know how, if you run into it very often, but you'll see the court center is getting redecorated right now, where the idea being that you know, there's different themed like little mall outlets where people can work out of, right? And ideally run their business. And maybe we fund those businesses to be more profitable if they operate here, you know, to try to reinvigorate people, slowing things down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I was talking to Viv just now, and she said she was really looking forward to being able to go up there and hang out and have a coffee and stuff. But there seems to be like, you know, we're still not there yet with that. Like
no.
making it a place to go. I think people actually envisaged it being like a mall that was bustling and people went to hang out, but it's quite bare. And I think, you know, people have just now got used to that. That's nothing here.
I think if I stepping in there real quick, I think the biggest thing with Kortz was that we had set in mind that we were to get some changes made that were, you know, to allow some more permanent residents there, but that's never, you know, fully come into fruition. So the new changes that are coming into place should hopefully implement that. I don't think we should overpromise though, right? We're hoping it does, but I don't think it's hard to guarantee that when before the tsunami, the population levels are very low. Like let's shoot straight here, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the reason, if you remember when I called you, I was going to be here for the odd people that, you know, that needed something when there wasn't nobody about, because those are the people that then moan, word of mouth, everyone starts going, oh yeah, I've had that experience, and it gets out of hand. So, you know, with me, I give like a personal service, but to tell you the truth, I've only got a couple of people that, and it's only really Max from the Maximilian really that's buying a few bits, and now even he can't buy anything because we haven't got it. So it's civilians and people like that, they don't buy here because it's either too expensive and they don't want to sell to us because they could sell for the same price on the street. So why bother putting a little, like an order in, like to sell something to us, and then having to wait maybe sometimes 24 hours for someone to even get back to them and say, oh yeah, I'll give you the money for that if you want. It's just so slack. And so they're not gonna sell nothing to us. They're just gonna sell to someone that says, have you got some money? Yes, I have. Here's the stuff. That it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. So there's a couple things that kind of came to light. First is, I've been pretty hands off, right? However, I don't think anyone, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think Frankie was ever fully replaced, right? I think what Frankie was able to do is hard to come by. Because he kept a day-to-day outlook on prices, and from what it sounds like is none of the prices have ever been readjusted.
I think they have been readjusted, but it's not by me. And I think sometimes the prices are made like for someone to sell to us aren't favourable. So they will just not fill the Kortz centre up with stuff. So no one wants to. I mean, okay, you don't want to like diddle citizens out of anything, but sometimes if you're running a business, you've got to do a little bit that might be uncomfortable. So if you are buying for a bit more, then maybe, you know, it will mean that we fill our inventory up. Not by a lot more, but it would mean that we get people that actually get used to doing that with us, and they're not used to doing it with us because they're not used to getting a good deal at all. Do you know what I mean? So
kind of, yeah.
And also, they're not going to get their money straight away, so it's not worth them waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It's nice to be able to just like the business isn't going to run, and people aren't going to come and buy stuff if they can get it elsewhere. And I feel like what the prices that we're buying for and selling for just aren't favourable.
No, I think they'd have to be like grossly better priced for actual interest to kind of create itself. So even when you mention, so I was under the impression that what I was told was that you did not like how we were handling materials or something. And when I got some other insight as to what was happening, and I want to understand from you, like, what have you been? So first off, actually, let me start here.
Okay.
There hasn't been a lot of customers in general, right? Like
No.
that's been in
No.
the decline, right?
Yeah.
I do think Mopec's been running, but Mopec was, and when it came to mats, we wanted a limit to 10K a person so
Yeah.
that no one person bought out the entire inventory.
Yeah.
And after Jason and I spoke 2 days ago, that's why we created the Mopec and then the regular one, right? The Mopec and the regular one.
Right.
So that the mechanics would come here, but then non-mechanics could also come here and it wouldn't be, fighting with each other. But from what I understand, yesterday or whatever, the day before, Bruce came in and just accepted a bunch of orders and then we went dry. Is that something that was happening? Like, who's taking these orders from you is what I want to ask. Because
Well, Bruce was buying recyclables as well. That's when I first flagged it up and said, I asked Jason to explain it to me. I said, I don't understand what's going on here. Because one minute we had, I even said to Bruce, I said, I've got a customer that's a repeat customer. He's coming back every time. Max was coming back to get recyclables. I was meeting him up here. We were doing he was passing the money to me. I'm sticking it straight into your account, within, minutes. And it was going smoothly. But then he can't buy from us because it's just Mopec. And he actually looked in there and said, oh, there's enough there. I'm going to probably buy some more, next week. Or, in a few days or whatever. And suddenly that was empty. And suddenly the Mopec one is full. And so, but can't just civilians, anybody just buy that Mopec stuff and then be told, no, you can't have it actually. So that doesn't work.
Oh, that's because that happened over the course of 12 hours. It's just another category opened up. Because the Mopec is for the mechanic shops, right? Yeah. And the problem that was happening is that the mechanic shops, so the Mopec program does a lot for civilians. What it does is it, through the government, through our subsidies, they're able to get material cheaper so that they have enough in stock to be able to repair people's vehicles. Like that's how PD gets the free repairs and da-da-da-da-da. However, because there was a clash between what the repair shops needed, Mopec, and what everyday people needed, a second category was open. But when you looked at it the next morning, it just, the refill had not taken place yet. You know what I mean? So,
what do you mean the refill?
Well, there was probably like what 6K or 60K I forgot what the cap is for recyclables.
Yeah, it's empty. It's just out of stock. Is it filled now? Like for your normal recyclable?
I haven't checked. But originally it was one pool, right? But a second pool was open so that both would get filled up, right? So one would be used for selling to civilians, and then another one for mechanics. So in other words, the idea was double the inventory, but have one pool for one set of people, another pool for another set of people. So
but non-Mopec people can still buy from that, and that's the point. So they're making orders because the normal recyclable one was actually at the beginning. No. So
technically they can add the non-Mopec stuff, but we don't accept that. You know what I mean? Like we would cancel those orders. I think Jason sent out a note yesterday about it.
Yeah, but the point is they're still making the orders and thinking they might be able to get recyclables because it's what I'm saying.
Who's doing that?
What do you mean?
What? Oh, have people been doing it, or like in theory, someone could do it?
Yeah, they can, because I think if I'm pretty sure I looked at the completed transactions and Maximilian had tried to order them because it's the first thing he saw. He probably thought, oh, that's good. It's gone down in price. No idea what Mopec is. And then obviously the order had to be cancelled because he can't have them. And there's not in the category that's just got normal recyclables. He can't buy it. And he was happy to come back and pay $12, per. Every time for like 15,000, like a regular customer. And it's people like that I feel they thought they was onto a good thing. And isn't this nice? Get a friendly face, like see you out the back with a van, and
Max.
It's things like that.
I wouldn't sweat too much with Max. He's purchased 50% of the materials from the Kortz Center. That's actually part of the part of like the bigger equation we've been looking at, which is making sure that we have to have more people need to be able to eat from the table as opposed to a handful here and there. You know what I mean?
But no one else was ordering. It was just him. Honestly, it's so dry. But that's what I'm saying to you. It's literally just him at the moment for me. And then when a couple more came in, it's just there isn't enough to like for me to be having a job as well. Because there's just not enough. There's not enough to do because we don't have enough customers. And I don't have a bank account to pay anything. So
that was surprising to me. That was never resolved.
Yeah.
You should have had one very early on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I just feel like I've not got. Honestly, I'll be honest. I have no idea what my responsibilities are because I do get sort of like told that this is this and that's that, and don't worry about it, Martha. Like it's all fine and everything. And I just think I might as well just step away and just leave everyone to it because every time I feel like I know what my job is. It comes up.
May I ask, like, who is giving you direction? Like, who normally is sort of had been telling you, like, what to do or this and that? Like, where's that coming from?
Not necessarily what to do, but if I question something, I just get it kind of explained to me for half an hour, and I still have no idea. By Bruce.
Bruce is literally just, you are above Bruce.
Well, the thing is, he is out on the street and he knows the car parks, but all I see is him. He's filling up the inventory and then he's buying from the inventory, and I just feel like.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, he puts all the car parts in.
Yeah.
So we get all that, and then I find out a few weeks later he's sort of buying them, or I don't see many names in our buying and selling. If that makes sense.
Wait.
To be honest, we haven't had that many people selling to us.
Wait.
Go on.
What do you mean? He's selling and then buying.
He's selling. He's the car parts manager, right?
Yeah.
So he sells to.
There's
us
no
like
way
a
that's
load of
right.
stuff. Yeah, all good. In good nick and everything.
Yeah.
So we've got all that, but then nobody buys it because the price is worse than on the street. So it's just sitting there. It's not favourable. So the inventory being full like that doesn't make sense. If we're not making the money, then we need to stop bringing the stuff in.
I spoke to him about that. The guy's a dumb fuck. In regards to
I just feel like if we're not selling it, it's like he's explained business to me like you wouldn't believe.
No. Listen, he Bruce yaps. He doesn't know business. He just he's cooked. So don't. I trust me. I recognize that. I spoke to him about it yesterday because I was like, because I've been looking over the numbers and it's fucking insane how much bleed there is. And when I'm like, oh, okay, so we're losing like $1 million, $2 million, but there's like 5 customers. And when I asked about,
so we're just literally just losing that amount.
It's just burning. What? I think it's like $1 million every 2 weeks or something. Which
center as such.
Yeah, which mind you, Martha, like is not a big deal because it is government run, right? It's supposed to have like a loss rate, and that includes because of the cheaper materials, right? As an example.
Yeah.
But when I look at the car part segment as an example, right, I noticed the same thing, which was. I can't get a straight answer with Bruce, just transparently.
No, you won't.
And that's what susses me out. And I don't know if he's like, it's like a incompetence issue or he's doing some rat shit. But
it's a definite. I mean, look, I can go and ask him something simple, and I'll just get the whole explanation of the ins and outs of my arsehole. And then when I walk away, I'm just thinking, hang on a minute, I didn't ask. But I don't actually know what I asked him in the first place. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the conversation could go on forever and still be empty. And
yes.
I just nod at him and think, you're not really telling me anything. I'm getting lip service here, son. You know, it's not... And I hate to use the word, but he's a mansplainer when it comes to me. It's like, don't worry about it, Martha. You know, you don't have to worry. I'm sorting it. And when we first actually had a little meeting together, I said, you know, we're going to work together. We need to have a little meeting.
Oh, God.
And sort of, we had a little chat at the food court, and honestly, we argued for half an hour because he's all for telling me how things should be done to make profit, and this is why he's doing this, and this is why he's doing that. I said, yeah, but you're not going to get no customers, because if you're going to treat them like that, that's what I'm for. To make people, I'm to go out to people and say it's fine. And for a while it was working, and even now the cops don't want to deal. You know, some of the cops won't deal with him. The people are the reputation. But to be honest, without this, when I speak to Bruce and we have chats, he's a nice guy. It's not like he's a horrible person.
I agree.
You know,
yeah,
he's not a horrible person, and we get on. We have chats about all sorts of nonsense, and it's fine. But when it comes to work, he suddenly changes. You know what I mean? And it's like a cat that widens their eyes when you start talking about something, and you think, hang on a minute, and he kind of just changes his stance, and he's basically reaching in and telling you how it is when you already know how it is, but he won't stop telling you. And it's not what you it's kind of what you want to hear, but when you hear it you think, no, you know, it's a bizarre kind of thing that he does. But I'm on it. I sort of just nod. You know, I'm not a young girl. I've listened to a load of shit in my life, and so when he talks, I just think I'm trying to pick out all the good bits, and in the end I think I just can't be bothered anymore. And I'll be honest, Nino, I don't need the drama of it all, because I've said my piece, and I've said what I think, and I've told Jason, you know, how I'm, you know, that I'm struggling a bit, and I'd rather just walk away and not have the head injuries from it, because it, to me, you know, if you're all happy with it, then that's fine for you, but I can't hand on heart say that I want to work here and be telling people how great it is when actually I have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, that to me is rather concerning. I mean, listen, having someone like you over here, I think I saw the value in it. What you're describing is exactly what it is. You need somebody that's got, like, for lack of a better word, like bedside manners or a good customer service, because nobody gives a fuck about like $1, $2, this and that. They if they're gonna come here, it's because they want to feel like it's worth being here. I don't know what's been happening in the morning. Now, to Jason's defense, right? She's not around at the same time you are.
Yeah. So
what you're experiencing, she may not, right? I know she's hard at work when she's got time. The Bruce stuff, I'm with you. I spoke to him yesterday. He's like, listen, we're buying $1 million of parts, but no one's buying it.
From? Who are you buying
from himself, probably.
That's
I don't
what
fucking
I'm saying.
know.
So how does that work? And you know, I want to talk, even though I am like, you know, I just think supply and demand just isn't going on there.
Well, that's exactly what I brought up yesterday. And I'm like, why are you buying so much if no one's buying it? And it's like, well, no one told me. And I'm like, hello? That, like, what am I supposed to, like,
manager,
fucking wipe your ass?
He's supposed to be over. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. So when I get kind of the full treatment from him, telling me all everything, which honestly I don't ask, I just think you're just sort of saying words to me now. And he's got this voice, doesn't he, that he uses, and it's kind of an overpowering one. It's very nice, don't get me wrong, but he's not giving me any content in there. He's just telling me so that I can't. He's filling up the airspace, you know, with his interpretation, and I just think I know what I see, and honestly, me talking to him makes no difference. If I talk to him, he'll just tell me how it is. He's told me about his mate Scrappy that's given us loads of recyclables, and my first thought was, thank God for that. And I've turned up to do to fulfill an order and found that there's not even enough recyclables in there to fulfill it. So and then I've been on to Jason in the emails and said, where have you keeping them anywhere else? Because I've just turned up and they should have been in the inventory, but obviously they wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell the person, and we can't do it yet. It's, or get them to put in like a manual order. So sometimes I just think if someone's putting all the recyclables in there, then who's taking some of them out without buying them,
Wait,
or where are they going?
It's empty completely?
No, not empty, but there's I went in there on one occasion, and we'd had a good old influx, and we had like 15,000 in a few crates. So I think Max bought some recyclables. So I went in there, and I just said to him, I actually can't. Oh no, that was before they were all put back in, but there was definitely enough to fulfill his order. So he bought them, and I went in there, and there wasn't. He'd bought like all that we had, which was only something about 12,000 or something, and I went in there and we only had about 5 or 6.
So it wasn't matching up with what was on the website?
No, it wasn't.
By how much?
So I couldn't fulfill it. I'd say about 6,000 or something. Okay. So whereas that he wanted like that, because he would like just buy the if there was 12,900 and something, he'd buy them. And then I'd go there and find that I could only give him sort of like 6 or it's little things like that. So I've asked in emails, where is it? Am I looking in the wrong place? But there is only one place from what I can see.
And what is that place?
Just inside the door.
Yeah, the little
there's a few crates just inside the door as you come down the stairs.
Oh my god! How many customers would you say in the last month have you ran into in the last 30 days?
Oh, honestly, it's probably only Max and also a few cops. That's not much. And usually it's the cops sort of like shift 1-ish, because honestly, shift 3, there isn't much at all.
And you mentioned some of them are less interested. What is the main reason for that?
Less interested. I think they're just buying things on the street. And I mean, we don't.
Okay. So they haven't vocalized discontent, but rather.
A lot of them don't want to work with Bruce. They don't like him. And I've sort of said, it's business. It's business. If
we are going to let Bruce go. I am going to offer you full control if you wish to take it.
Right.
I'm getting rid of him regardless.
Right. Okay.
Full control.
I mean, have you talked it out with him though? I mean, is there?
No. I mean, I don't, Martha. I don't have time for sitting down and this and that.
Right. Okay. Then.
I go by feeling, and I already sort of felt this way prior to this conversation. This just sort of reinforces what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I would like you to fully operate Kortz in your vision. In the first half of you in the AMs or whatever, Jason in the PMs, and I want it to be joint decision making.
I mean, I answer to her anyway, and she always tells me.
Yes.
It's not like she don't get back to me and she doesn't help me, because she does.
Absolutely. I think for her, being, let's say, the visionary, I think is a good thing. Yeah. But I think you need to be able to make executive decisions in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I tell you what, I am quite capable of going around to businesses saying, how much are you charging for this and how much are you selling, and making sure that I can come back to her with shit like that. Do you know what I mean? So that we can just do proper figures.
That's exactly it. I mean, that's what I want is if something is too expensive or too much, I want you to be able to just adjust it. You shouldn't have to ask anybody, right?
Yeah.
We put a system in place specifically. Now, keep in mind, I've had to be hands off because there's just so much other shit with legal stuff that we've had to deal with that I haven't had time to see this. But I put something in particularly that anytime you change the price, which I'm not sure if anyone's walked you through there, but you put a note in there. So we see, Martha reduce the price of such and such thing by 20%, and you can put the note inside, right? So I
mean, I can do the thing is about the recyclables is I feel like I know you've got 2 separate places where it is, but it is people that don't know anything. I didn't know anything when I first worked here. I've literally winged it this whole time until I've got to the stage where I kind of know what I'm doing. But it's like a customer rocking up to that site is going to see the Mopec stuff, have no clue what that is, and just buy it and put an order in for it. So we're constantly going to have that problem.
I don't know how to solve that because the thing is,
I mean, when they sell, this is what I'm saying to you. If we just had like recyclables, just straight, just recyclables. That's what we've got. If it's a mechanic and I know they're a mechanic, I've got a sheet that I can work from that gives me the first 10,000, and then the rest of it is like 12. I've got that already. So I can do that without even having them to actually buy it. I can just do a manual transaction and just put in my discount like I do for the cops. I can do a double discount. I can work that stuff out. They know what I'm doing, and
you know what, that works for me. Let's I want you and could you talk to Jason about that, because we made the decision like 2 nights ago, because for reference, Martha, like I know there may be a customer here or there that, like, for example, Max, that is buying consistently. We need to limit like 10,000 per person per week.
He's not buying every few days. It is literally about once a week. So
the problem is, though, we ran the numbers. He's buying 50% of the recyclables. The problem becomes bigger than us.
Do you not think it's because no one else is? If it's not there to buy, you can't have it. But we've not got many customers. It was him literally just for a few weeks at one point. So those numbers aren't going to add up if you
you're not
in the
wrong.
fact that no one's coming.
You're not wrong about that.
He's the only one buying.
I think that's why in the same breath, if it's just recyclables, it's fine, but we got to limit to 10,000 per person or a mechanic shop. And that's a bigger problem that we've had to. This is actually how the Mopec stuff kicked back up. Is there's a lot of political drama bullshit around materials and the different material companies and like mechanic shops saying they can't get their hands on things. While I don't know fully what the truth is, right? Because everyone's going to tell me their bullshit, right? Like who knows where the truth is and where it isn't. I think it's safer for us to have that, that 10,000 limit.
When you say 10,000 limit, do you mean like in normal recyclables, like any at all?
Like any at all. Yeah.
Right, okay then.
Yeah.
So if a mechanic wanted to get, like say if Raina Fairlady asked me for 15,000, I couldn't give him 10,000 for 8 and then 5,000 for 12.
10,000 for now. And what we can let people know is that amount may raise. This is just we need to see how things go at 10,000 and then reassess. Because there's 2 things we have to make sure is. One is we have the accessibility, because 10,000 is a lot, even for mechanic shops. But we have to be careful that we don't take over the material market.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But then $12, people are going to look at us and go, "Oh, I can get it for 11," because I know that's a figure that I've heard quite a bit, or they'll sell for 10 or 11.
When we can reduce our price a little bit, I think I am open to the idea that everything we sell at the Kortz Center should always be 20% less than anywhere else. Everything
that we sell.
Yeah, because we run subsidy wise. Like I don't give a fuck. Like if people are, I want people to come here and be like, it's cheaper to buy here. Yes, it may kind of mess some people up, but the idea is like if you want to buy something in the back of a trunk, you can do so. But if you want the reverse tax, come through the Kortz Center, right?
Yeah. So what you're saying is that it's the swings and roundabouts of okay. See, I mean, when I went to the first meeting, I was under the impression that like sort of it might cost them more, but they'll get it straight away because it's a website. But the thing is that hasn't been the case, has it? Because sometimes people aren't around to sell it and then they're waiting. So with your idea, you're going to just sort of like, I mean, look, okay, you don't want to diddle everyone out of money, but if you're running a business, you're running a business. Do you know what I mean? At what point do you just say, I'm going to baby everybody in the city just so that everyone can be happy?
I don't disagree. I mean, we're a business, but we're a government. business,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't mind we're like, let's say negative $2 million a month, right? Because that's pocket change for the county. As long as it's creating customers, right? Because the goal isn't so much even like people are getting the best prices. I want people to be here, enjoy themselves, like hang around and stuff.
Yeah.
And if that means that we sell things cheaper, then all the better.
We have got to make it a bit more favourable to. I mean, this is the thing, because the inventory has like a limit. So when this was the thing that I was gobsmacked at. We had, like the 100 mil and the 97 mil turbos were like kind of. They were all over the place. They're a few weeks ago, everyone had them. So the price went right down on them to buy.
Yeah.
And we had a load, and they just kind of just went down and down in quality. No one came to us because they could buy it cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah, that's when we have to dump the price, right? And that's the bit that was like is confusing to me, is like, and this is why I'd like to have you like honestly just go fully hands-on this, is like, if you see that's a problem, then just dump the price, like have a fire sale, who cares? Right? Better to sell it than let it just go into dust. You know what I mean?
I give people. I mean, when I spoke to Jason about it, I said, people aren't going to buy from if it's a bit rusty. So she said about the discount, which is corresponding to how bad it is. Like, so I do that, and people are appreciative of that, because otherwise they're going, "No, I'm not buying it from you because obviously it's not going to be very good." I said, "Well, you get a discount that at least we're making some money from it, other than it just going off and just like literally not getting."
No, I would say, Martha, like, I'll say, and I'll talk to Jason at the end of the day. If I need to make an executive order, I'll do so. And right now, where I'm going with this is, if you see there's just stuff collecting dust, and just do a fire sale, get on Twitter, just like be like, hey, 50% off all this stuff, and just dump the inventory. You know what I mean?
Because I said to Bruce, I said, don't keep taking everything away. I said, because I could probably do someone a fucking good deal on that, and they'd be appreciative. I said, especially for people that wanted to try something out in their car, because sometimes they put parts in their car and they go, oh, it's shit. So, I could say, well, you can try like a, degraded part in. It will cost you, I'll give you a discount for what it's worth, and you can try it for a week, just shit like that. There's so much, if people know about it. But honestly, I don't know how old you are, darling, but have you ever seen a cartoon called Wacky Races?
I am somewhat familiar. Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever heard like when do you know who Penelope Pitstop is? I'm
old enough to just remember it's very old, and they had like flying machines, and that's about it. And the guy with the mustache.
Yeah, well, exactly, and if you remember, someone would come along, and Penelope. When I mention Bruce Baylor's name, it's like that. It's like Penelope Pitstop going, "Oh no, the hooded claw!" Everyone fucking recoils, and I'm like, God. And and I always say he's a nice guy. It's all right. It's just business. But I'm finding it harder and harder. Because there is that recoil.
I think he puts money above people. And while I don't think he's a bad guy.
No, he isn't, and that's what I mean. We have some lovely chats. It's not that.
Yes.
But when business is mentioned, we can't communicate.
Correct.
Face to face or on the phone. That I just get talked over, and I feel like I'm making a good point, and he tries to make it that I'm not, and that he knows how it should be, and that I shouldn't worry my head about it.
No,
and
it's
so,
not.
It's like that. But I don't want you to mess your company up just because I'm having a moan on.
No, Bruce is just an employee. I gave him an opportunity over here, and he's turned it into a metallic fortress instead of what this was. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's got a conflict of interest with his own business, right? Yeah. And what I think seemed like a good idea at the time, it turned out to not be one. Like, I'll have a very honest conversation with him. I think it's better for him to be a supplier to us. So he sells to you car parts if they're needed.
Yeah.
And, you don't need to be a car expert, Martha. Like, if people need things, like you can, you're like, hey, what do you guys need? What do you like to see? And someone's selling it, I'll let you do the buying and the selling and whatever. Like, I think that makes more sense.
At the moment, there's a problem with like a lot of the car parts being able to be brought up to 100% by the mechanics, but a lot of the mechanics don't know how to do it, or they haven't been able to. It's a little bit of a like an in limbo thing, but apparently it will cost quite a bit for them to get their parts upgraded. So I'm still kind of giving like a discount if it's degraded, because if they take that to a mechanic, they're going to have to pay the difference to get it up to 100. Do you know what I mean?
So my understanding is, and it might be better to speak to someone, a mechanic you trust, like Fair Lady or whatever.
Yeah.
Is my understanding is that if you have an engine that's like at 80%, right?
Yeah.
You can take the stage 1s and 2s, like the shit that we normally used to throw away, and you can utilize that to bring up its health.
Right. Okay then.
Yeah.
Do you know any mechanics that are actually doing it, and is Rainer actually doing that? Because I couldn't get hold of him yesterday. He's my friend.
I
can always, honestly, Rainer is an absolute diamond to me. He's given me so much information. I'm always like tapping into people that I'm, because I've got quite a lot of friends, sort of thing. But yeah, he's great. So I can always get info from him. As long as I know all the info, I can use it. I can work things out.
I just want you to feel like you can run this place, hire people as you need, because like I said, and do things that just bring people here, whatever that takes. Because everything else is irrelevant to me, right? The more customers we have, the only thing is limiting how much. We don't want people like buying out everything, right?
Yeah, if it's too cheap, they'll go mental.
Well, they'll go mental, or like the case of, like I said, Max. Max is a great guy too. Like, he's not doing anything wrong, to be clear. But it's just,
but if you check how often he's doing it, it's like it is about once a week. I haven't seen him for a week.
well, that's the other thing, right, Martha?
He
is
did
like
try and
I'm
buy
only
the Mopec stuff, I think, and that's the point. But if no one else is buying it, I have to sell to someone. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we've just got it. It's that kind of thing.
The mechanic shops are always going to need it. And I think we got to get them to understand you're the person for Mopec materials. Because trust me when I say they had a huge meeting. All of these people, they really want Mopec materials. I just don't think, for whatever reason, they haven't been calling you. So I think we got to close that communication gap.
Yeah.
Or what you could do is you could probably, when you are awake, like, contact these mechanic shops and be like, hey, we got materials for you guys.
Because Rainer was getting it from me, and then he's just stopped. And he said, oh, no, it's okay. And I just thought, because I thought we were doing a good deal. Because and this is what I'm saying about, if someone says to me, I'm Mopec and I want to sell you stuff, we've got a different price for them, haven't we? So if to begin with, everyone is clued up that actually we do it, once they've put that little request in, we're going to do a manual order and pay them what they're supposed to get paid, being Mopec. Rather than have two different sections, because honestly it makes it so confusing for anybody going in there. And not everyone knows what
I'll let you
is.
and Jason decide that, like whatever you think is more convenient.
Okay then, because at the moment I'm doing manual. Every time someone comes in and they want something and there's a discount, you know what I mean? I'm already doing that. And I say to them, this ain't like a checkout. You're just basically telling me what you want, and I'm saying, yeah, you can have it, and then I'll give you a proper, I'll bill you properly. So they get a text from me with everything. They pay it to my bank and I pay it to yours. It isn't difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you could send me your state ID, I'm going to talk to Bruce. I'm going to get you a Kortz Center account. Anytime you need it refilled, you let me know. I will.
I don't know what happened to the RC cars either. We were going to get RC cars from Irish. I don't even know if we still are.
I think that's why we just, I want you to build up a team around this time, right?
Right, okay.
And just feel like we'll pump money into this place. I just want to see it popping. You know what I mean? Yeah. You want to throw an event? You want to throw like $1 million giveaway or something? Because like set up something, giveaway, like go ahead and do it. I just want to see this pop. This can't be an empty shell of like one of those fucking stone castles where you just come to flick gold inside. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's something I'll have to work on, because I've not kind of like clued up on doing stuff like that, but I'm sure I could find people that are.
Easy. Junior, I want you to help Martha where she needs it. All right, we gotta start cooking this place back up, and I think even involving some of your activities that you've been doing, bring them down here. You know what I mean? Get those guys involved with Martha.
This is something what I want to talk to you about, but I may need to dash quickly.
Okay.
Are you gonna be free in probably like half an hour, Nino?
Sure. And then we
Okay.
can reconvene on this like in a day or two.
Post. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Sweet.
Martha, let me get
dash.
things set up on your end, and I know
Okay.
you've probably got a dash here soon as well.
Yeah.
But I'll get you sorted. I'll talk to Bruce. I'll talk to Jason as well.
All right, then.
Let's
I
give
don't want
this
any
a
bad
second.
blood with him because honestly, he's a nice
No.
guy. I just wish it's one of these things where you end up sort of like falling out because of business, and I hate it. I really do.
I mean,
It's it's one of them things.
yeah. No, I understand. I wouldn't sweat that too much. And if you
Yeah,
do
I
get
know.
trouble, do let me know.
Yeah, okay then.
All right.
I mean, I'm
Awesome.
trusted, and this is my problem, and this is what I was saying to Viv earlier. I said sometimes I feel like I'm kind of saying, "Oh, everything's fine," and hand on heart, I can't
No,
believe it. So, and when I can't believe it, I can't be it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like that. I've got to believe what I'm saying, otherwise,
Yeah,
I ain't saying it.
I'm the same way.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Okay, then. Well, I better push off then because I've got to go home
Okay.
and feed my guinea pig. So,
All right.
You have a nice night.
You as
Right,
well.
see you later, Junior. Okay.
See you later, Martha. Have a good one.
I know you got to dip here in a little bit. Yeah, man. Like when I spoke to Bruce yesterday, it just sounded so slimy. Like I unintentionally. I think he's like he's a good guy. She described it well. It's like something. He falls into this like algorithmic like I don't know, man. Like I don't know. He's just I think he's better as a someone we buy from rather than someone who operates
I
as a
don't use
manager.
Word lightly, but I think he has turned the Kortz center, which is something that's I don't want to say selfish, but
Yes,
it serves him more than the people now.
it does,
That's
and
the way he's got it set up.
it does. I think there's a harsh reality that this place can only operate under hopes and dreams. Like that's it, right? There is no functional reason for someone to be here, right? But Bruce isn't exactly someone who's going to draw people in.
Yeah.
He sees an equation and that's it. I also we need this place popping. I think Jason in the evenings is good. We need someone strong around this time as well. You know what I mean? And I think we got to give Martha an opportunity with that because I mean,
Yeah.
she's not like talk to people, figure out what price should be. Anyways, what did you want to talk about?
Can it wait? I've got a random message
we can
saying,
do that.
Junior, I need to meet you, and I don't know who the fuck it is, but they were very anonymous down the phone, so
Okay.
one of them ones. But yeah, it's about SecuroServe. I've got a new direction I want to take it in, and you know,
Okay.
especially with what we're doing here, I think it'll link in very well.
Perfect.
Oh dear. To the most mental thing, right? You know, I took a day off on Monday, right?
Yeah.
And I came back yesterday